Cool. What's up, people? It's your boy, Set for Province, Cameron Fields, back at it again with another YouTube upload. This is my third time recording this. Third time. I've messed up 3 times. But that's whatever. We're rocking. We're rocking and we're cocking. So, uh, as you can see, back with another tier list video with tier maker. And in this video, we're gonna be making a tier list for the Fortnite seasons. These are going to be cut up into all their individual chapters. So we'll be going chapter 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then giving our thoughts on the seasons individually. And then kind of wrapping up with a chapter overview. So to start off, we have Season 1, which I didn't play. And then we also have Season 2, which I didn't play as well. These 2 seasons obviously laid the foundation for the game. So I know, like, even though I didn't play them, if I did have to play them, honestly, like, I didn't play them, but if I were to rank them, I'd kind of give Season 1 an S tier because it is the foundation of the game. It's the starting off point. Actually, no, I'd give it like a B because it's like in the middle. It's the starting off point, but at the same time, it's not like something crazy or whatever. Once we start getting to like Season 2 and stuff, which was probably like an A, we would be getting up and then starting to improve and everything. But since I didn't play them, I'm not gonna be ranking them. But that's like kind of where I would rank them if I did. Next we have Season 3. Don't mind like how they're ordered down here. Whoever did them kind of jumbled them up, kinda. So like some of like everything from like after this one has nothing to do with like this small chunk right here is not, it's not ordered, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Next we have Season 3, which I did get the chance to play. I don't remember playing most of it, or I don't remember that I played all of it. I know I started to play the game around this time because we did have team killing or friendly fire, and I know that they didn't vault it until like Season 4. So I remember specifically being able to shoot my friends whenever we were playing stuff. So that's how I know I at least played Season 3. And my thoughts on Season 3 is that like it was a good season. This was like the season that kind of laid down the foundation for me as a player, as this was like me first getting into the game. It holds like a lot of like, it holds a special place in my heart because it's like me starting to play the game, and me starting to play the game that personally I would say is one of my favorite games of all time. And so, and I would say is, but you know what? I'm gonna save that for the end. But yeah, like, it has the first event. It wasn't anything too crazy, obviously, like in terms of like fun and everything. There were fun moments, but like it's not like the peak of me and my friends having fun. Is kind of what I'm getting at. And the weapons and everything, like they were cool to use and fun to use, but it doesn't have like any of like my favorite weapons, which like going from here on we start getting into the more fun wacky side of the game and the more cool weapons and stuff. So yeah, nothing too crazy or anything, but it does hold a special place in my heart, and for that it gets an A tier. Next we have Season 4, the first actual season I played, with the first real seasonal event with the rocket flying into space and everything. All these events were live, so being able to see that live with my friends was really cool, and it was awesome. I don't think we knew it was happening, and we just saw it overhead, and then we were just like watching from there. Or maybe we did know, and then we just saw it anyway, and it was like while we were and then we like went to the location it was at and saw it there. I don't remember entirely, but I do remember seeing this live, and it was really cool. The meta and everything was cool. They added like some additional weapons. I don't remember all the weapons that they added, but they did add some additional weapons that made it more enjoyable for me. Um, they had Dusty Depot getting destroyed and turning into the crater, and that was pretty cool. They had a lot of like the hop rocks being scattered at some of the POIs, which was really cool. And this is like OG Fortnite chapter, so all the POIs are really cool and everything. I enjoy most of them. Some of them aren't like crazy, like Lucky Landing, one of the worst POIs of all time. Don't even get me started. But yeah, and then this was also the start of like the Fortnite lore, which I'm a big lore guy. I like lore in video games and everything. So the start of like the Fortnite lore being here was really cool. Season 5, goated season, all timer season. This is like the most. This is one of the seasons that I've had the most fun playing ever. Like even to this day, it's like one of the top ranking. Like if we were to be ranking this purely on like fun and everything, it would probably be like top of S tier. But we're also incorporating other things. So yeah. This also had Kevin the Cube and Thanos Lake. Those two events happening this season was pretty cool, and being able to see those live were awesome. Kevin the Cube being like this purple little cube. You can kind of see it in the background of the image. It's like this purple cube that like everyone in the community loved and enjoyed, both ironically and unironically. And like it was just a lot of fun. This had like all timer weapons being added to the game, like the drum gun and the P90. And the POIs were awesome. Like the golf cart. I can't remember the exact name of it, but the golf cart POI got added this season, which was really cool. And then they added in like golf carts and everything, which were awesome. And like it was just like I remember having some of the most like fun playing with my friends. And then they added Paradise Palms as well. And yeah, it was just like an all-timer amazing vibes type season. So for that, easy S tier. Easy S tier. Easy S tier. Next, we have Season 6, which I'm just going to get it right off the bat. Go straight into D tier. One of my least favorite seasons of all time. They added zombies to the game, which were cool at first, but then got annoying and stupid and dumb with the amount of like stupid third parties and like bullshit you would experience with them. It was cool to like be able to destroy their like little spawners and get weapons and stuff for them, but towards late game and end game, it was just a horrible experience to have like a bunch of zombies ganging up on you and there was nothing you could do about it because they can break builds. They do like not crazy amount of damage, but they do like a decent amount of damage to you. And then like there's multiple types, so it's like you have your skinny ones that are doing like not that much damage, but then you have like your big boys that would do big damage. And I'm not sure if they had like the projectile ones here as well, but then you have like projectiles on, if they did have it at the time, then you have like your projectile zombies, which were like those three combinations of zombies all ganging up on you while someone is shooting at you from behind or some shit, and them breaking your builds and stuff is just annoying to deal with. They had the floating island, which is pretty cool. That was pretty cool. Thanos Lake kind of, and Kevin the Cube kind of absorbing into like the little island in the middle of Loot Lake and turning into the floating island was awesome. And seeing that move around the map live and everything was cool. Shadow stones being added were awesome because you could do like a lot of fun glitches, like glitching at the cars, which is what me and my friends did a lot, and I remember showing it off to them and it was pretty cool. They added Fortnite Mares, which was pretty cool. This is like the first real like holiday one that they did, if I remember correctly, like first big holiday that they did, which was pretty cool. Like holiday related event, my bad. Holiday related event. And Fortnite Mares was cool. The weapons they added themselves were not cool. This is when they added zombies, I'm pretty sure, which is like why, even though it's cool, it slightly gets a negative downgrade. But yeah, they added the glider redeploy, which is like a phenomenal. I don't know why they took it out of the game, because I feel like now it kind of makes sense for them to take it out of the game, but back then, glider redeploy was like such a cool and unique and like fun mechanic to use. Basically, like when you're jumping from the plane or whatever, you're in, you have like a glide and everything. You're gliding down, but you wouldn't be able to use it again unless you had like a jump pad or something. But Fortnite added glider redeploy and siphon to the game. Yeah, I think we got siphon around this time too. Yeah, they added siphon and glider redeploy around the game, and like everyone just like unanimously thought like it was a really good, like those are really good mechanics. And so basically, glider redeploy was like you just like being able to like redeploy your glider at any time. Like if you jumped from like a specific height, I think it was like 30 feet or something, in game 30 feet, you would be able to like you pull out your glider and then glide from like places and stuff. It was just a really good mechanic. Basically, you couldn't die to fall damage anymore, and you could get around the map better. And it was just like, it was cool. It was a cool little feature. And siphon being added to the game. Basically, if you get kills, your health would be brought back up by like 50. So it would restore like 50 health points to you, no matter like shields or health. So that was pretty cool. But aside from that, I just did not like this season. So D tier. Season 7, kind of. So not entirely, because they did have like their own little like Christmas related event. But just this kind of felt like, aside from like the new map changes and everything, this one was just like not like that memorable to me. Like the ice POI was cool, them adding planes was cool, and them adding like the sword was pretty cool, which is like this huge as like fucking like sword that you could like whip around and throw, and like it did like huge amounts of damage. You could leap around with it and stuff. It was like really cool. Unfortunately, they took it out of the game because of balancing issues and how like overpowered it was, and then the fact that like they added it, so it makes sense why they like ended up taking it out, because they took it out, or they added it around the time that they had like this big competitive tournament, and at the time they didn't like separate like their stuff, because nowadays they would separate like their casual and competitive stuff, kind of like they still kind of keep the same things, but if they realize something's too overpowered, they will take it out and stuff. But during this time they weren't doing that, so they add the sword, and then like during their competitive tournament that was being broadcasted live and everything to like a huge audience, and then like the sword just comes in, the person with the sword comes in, and they just like wreck house, win the whole fucking tournament without having to really try, like there wasn't any skill, wasn't really any competitive aspect behind it or anything. It was just like they would just, the person with the sword, if they got it, they won. It was GG's after that. But I personally liked it because it was just like a fun thing to get, especially like casually wise. It was a fun thing to get. Obviously, competitively wise, it wasn't that fun, but I'm more of a casual player than the competitive player. Added planes. I don't know if I said that already, but they added planes. But like the reason why the season just wasn't like that, like much. Actually, you know what? I'll put it in C. It's higher than this one. They did add zombies again, which pisses me the fuck off. And the event for this season was lame comparatively to last season with the butterfly and all that. But like, it's just, at least I can acknowledge that I did enjoy it more, especially with the fact that we had like this funny clip, like in my friend group, where like I was in like this, I was using one of the planes, and we were all like, they hitched a ride on it, and then they decided to add like these fucking balloons, like you could like basically put a balloon on your back and it would like let you like fly and float and everything. And these motherfuckers decided to add their like a balloon onto their back, and it fucked up like the equilibrium or whatever of the plane, and it was just like throwing it off balance and stuff. And then at the same time, I started to lag, but like I didn't notice. Like from my perspective, I was kind of fine, but from their perspective, I'm lagging all over the place while they have like the balloons attached to the plane. So it's causing the plane to be all fucked up and wacky for them. And then for me, it was fine until it was like my internet started to like actually fucking die on itself. And I could notice it too. And I was like, oh shit. Like I was just like, what? It was just an all-timer moment in terms of like just friend. So like that's for the fact that it had the sword and it had like a cool ice biome POI and it had that one clip moment. It does get higher than season 6, but not like if it wasn't for those like couple things, it would be in the same tier. Next, we have season 8, which was the volcano tropical pirate type of vibe season or aesthetic that they were going for, which they nailed. It felt very like tropical and like paradise kind of vibes with like a whole like little section of the map just getting like a literal volcano sprouting out onto it. There was like a little like pirate bunker place that they had that like pirates took over like a whole place, and it was just pretty cool. Um, we got a free battle pass this season because I think for this season they ended up accidentally delaying last season, so they ended up giving us a free battle pass. I'd put this one in A. It has like the ballers, which are like these cool mobility items. It had the boom bow, which is like an all-timer weapon, the flint knock, the infantry rifle, two other all-timer weapons. They added in treasure maps, which were really cool. They added in reboot vans, so we could finally revive each other instead of being killed off spawn or being killed middle of the game and then having to spectate your friends instead of being able to be brought back, which sucked ass. But since they added reboot vans, it made it made dying and everything better, and it like it just like it was better with the reboots being added to the game. They also added the end game LTM, which is like Avengers versus Thanos, 50v50. You'd have 50 on Thanos' side, 50 as the Avengers. You could use Avengers weapons or you could use like Thanos weapons. And then they also had Thanos in the game, which is what they did in season 4 as well. I forgot to go over that, but it was just like really fun, a lot of fun. So for that, it gets A tier. Gets an A tier. And then actually, even though I did talk highly of season 3, looking back, it does not deserve to be in the same tier as both season 4 and 8. So it goes down one tier. Next we have season 9, which had 14 Days of Summer, which is really cool. It was like this summer event. They've never been able to live up to this event, I don't think, in terms of like the holiday and like holiday related type events. Maybe once or twice, but aside from that, not really. But they have 14 Days of Summer, which is really cool because they would add like a new game mode, and then they would also add a new or an old weapon that we used to have in the game that got vaulted. They added that back to the game. It has the TAC AR and the combat shotgun, which were all-timer weapons for me. Really enjoyed those. Really liked those. They had the John Wick event, or John Wick, not event, but game mode and everything, with an insider meme that we had being excommunicado, and one of my best friends, Caleb, hitting like a clutch save, winning us the game when he threw like a stink grenade at like enemies trying to revive each other, and it killed all of them. causing us to win the game. That was pretty cool. It added hotspots, which were a cool addition to the game. Being able to go to POIs that had like this yellow border around the name, and then if you went to that POI, you'd be able to shoot these little drones that had like loot inside them. So if you went to those, you get like better loot and everything. At the proximity launcher, which is an all-timer weapon, and they had like the best event out of all of them with the monster versus mech fight, the final showdown, which was really really fucking cool, really really awesome. This is what really like put Fortnite on the map for having like the best like in-game events of any game out there, which I would say it still kind of does, but also don't see that many games doing like in-game events like Fortnite. So kind of being the only game to really do that, and then saying it's one of the best is like kind of like, you know, weird. But I mean, it does in-game events better than most, I would say. So for that, season 9, like, the event is what really carries this season, and having the John Wick mode and everything. But do I want to put it in A? Like, I enjoyed it. Yeah. I'll put it in A, but like bottom A. It was enjoyable, and the event really does bring it up to A. In some of the moments I have with my friends does bring it up to A. But aside from that, it's like, you know, if it didn't have those couple things, it would not be an A. And next, we have the most controversial season of Fortnite possibly ever, aside from maybe like Chapter 2, Season 6, and maybe like one more. But this is gonna shock people, but this gets an S tier ranking. I know, there was mechs, there were the gimmick POIs, there was the no balancing of the game for mechs and making them competitively fair and everything and all that, and making like giving mechs an active counter and everything, and there was a lot of crossovers and stuff. But like personally for me, it was just like it's one of my favorites. It'll go down as one of my favorites, I think. Because I thought all the crossovers that they did were really cool with like Borderlands and Batman, and adding literal whole POIs around those characters and everything in like those games and all that. Games for Borderlands, characters and stuff. Like they literally added Gotham to the game. Like, how can I not think this is like one of the coolest seasons ever, as like me being a huge comic book fan. But yeah, the crossover is really cool. And then I know the gimmick POIs were like, you know, they're some of them were bad, like objectively they were bad. With like Moisty Palms being a mixture of Moisty Myers and Paradise Palms, having this gimmick where you could basically do prop hunt there. There was Taco Time, Greasy Grove, which in like 1 minute intervals you would dance around with tacos in your hand and everything, and you couldn't fight, couldn't jump, or couldn't build, couldn't jump or anything, I don't think. And that sucked. And you had Tilted Town where you couldn't build, and at the time this was like building Fortnite, so like you needed to build in a lot of situations. But like it just felt like a end of an era, you know? Like this is the last season of Chapter 1, and it felt like they were kind of paying homage to a lot of the stuff that they did, while also having like cool new additions. Like they were bringing back Moisty Myers and mixing it in with Paradise Palms. They brought back Greasy Grove after it got covered in ice and submerged in the water and shit, you know? And then they added in like Starry Suburbs, which wasn't even a POI. It was just like this place on the map you could go to, but they made it a POI by adding it back and everything, and adding like the little like star thing that would fall from the sky and everything as like that's gimmick. And it was just like really like, it just felt like while paying homage and also adding in cool things and everything, it felt like this was like the end of an era. And I just remember having a lot of fun this season, like a lot of like having a lot of fun with my friends, coming back off of a vacation and really like really enjoying the season, you know? And I personally really like it a lot. I know most people don't, and I understand why. And if you were to convince me, I could maybe like put it down a tier or something. But like, I don't know. It's one of my favorites. One of my favorites. And so it gets S tier. And yeah, this is like my ranking of the Chapter 1 seasons. I feel like Chapter 1 obviously is looked back on fondly. I don't necessarily think, aside from like objectively speaking X, and then maybe season 6 there being like necessarily bad seasons, because even then I would say like you can look at any season and find something enjoyable about it. Oh yeah, and then I don't think I went over the event for season X, but season X did have a pretty cool event. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to see it because of technical difficulties, as we'll call it. Oh, wink, wink. You know who I'm talking about. You know who I'm talking about. You seeing this video. You know who I'm talking to. Wink. But like, going back onto talking about like the overall season or chapter. This, I would say, there was never a necessarily bad season. Of course, there were bad moments, and maybe like because of those moments, you kind of look back on the season negatively, or because of certain things that they added, you look back on it negatively. And because of like balance changes or map changes, you might look at a season poorly. But like, I don't think there was necessarily a bad season of Fortnite. I think each season, in Chapter 1 specifically, all have good aspects to them. And there was not like a shit season. Like, each one of these you can find some enjoyment in. And or a lot of enjoyment. And honestly, I can see someone making a case for one of these seasons, being one of their favorites. So, yeah, Chapter 1, if I were to be ranking Chapter 1 as a whole, I would say it's like an S tier chapter. It's probably, nostalgia speaking, it is the best. Everyone loves Chapter 1 map. Everyone loves most of the seasons that they did. All the events were really good. It felt like Fortnite was this unstoppable monster, which it was. It really was. No one was competing with this game. No one really was competing with this game. Like, of course, you had Apex Legends and you had your Call of Duties, but no one was pulling numbers like Fortnite was, really. No one was really like, this was the peak game. You could not go anywhere without at least hearing about it, at least seeing something about it, at least like having everyone at one time at least played this game. If you were a gamer, if you were someone who played video games, you at least played this game. And if you personally never played this game, you knew someone who did. This game was everywhere, and it was such an iconic game. And this like first chapter is really what makes me, obviously as we get into the other chapters, I think while some people might think negatively on some of them, and obviously the hype and everything of the game has died down. I'm not gonna say it's a dead game, but it's not as like huge or anything as it was during this first season. But because of like Chapter 1, this is what makes it like one of my favorite games of all time. And honestly, what I think is one of the best games of all time. What other game What other game? Obviously, as we get like later into it, this applies really more. But what other game can do like all the crossovers and events that Fortnite does? Like no other game was doing it at the time. And so yeah, like I just think this was a really good season, really good season. And these are my rankings on the tiers or on all the seasons individually. I felt like this was a really good chapter. Obviously, you can see some of my lowlights in the game, but even then, like there's still something enjoyable that I remember in each of these, whether it be a moment, maybe some weapons, maybe some game mechanics. There's always something that kept me coming back to the game. And with that, I'm done. I'm out of here. Peace out, pimps. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll be back with you guys with the chapter 2 tier list ranking in a couple days, maybe. Maybe tomorrow. Find out. Peace.